Hello and welcome to our podcast where we challenge industry norms, question everything, and share things we're doing in hopes to start conversations, inspire, and maybe even drive some change. My name is Todd and I'm here with my wife and co-host, Jen. Hi, Jen.
Hello.
Welcome to the Hello Hair Pro podcast.
Here we are.
So, today we're going to talk about freedoms that we offer our team, how owners sort of should and can follow our game plan, for lack of a better word, and how to implement that stuff. But before we get started on that, I want to take a second to we get asked what our podcast is about a lot, and it's taken on what.
Sorry, just reminded me of an episode from Seinfeld. Which our son says Seinfeld.
Seinfeld.
But anyway, go ahead.
Was it a good episode?
The one that George is like, it's about nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It's nothing. Sorry. Side note.
That was a good show.
It was a good one.
So.
Or it was just about something.
It is, but it isn't, in a way, if you think about it. So we get asked, like, who should listen to the podcast? You know, we have clients ask us if they should listen. What are your thoughts on that?
I tell my clients to check it out. I think... I tell them it's, I guess, geared towards stylists, business owners, or the salon industry as a whole. And if they find it entertaining, why not? We talk about salon stuff, but we have stories in between that I find have some value, or at least if nothing else, it is fun to listen to.
Yeah, I think the things we talk about relate to hair because we're both in that industry, but it doesn't mean that it won't relate to other industries.
No, we've related. Last one of them was even to when we had the gym and that kind of stuff. Or sometimes we talk about things outside of the salon, but the salon might have inspired the conversation.
Right. So really the answer is anyone that's interested in listening should check it out, and hopefully you get value out of it. If you have a small business, you'll be able to relate. If you have a team, you'll be able to relate. If you work with a team, you'll be able to relate. So
I have a client that runs a small business and she enjoys it for that mere fact, just to hear stories that...
She want to sponsor us? Because we'll mention her.
I doubt it. Maybe. Okay. Who knows?
All right.
I'll ask her. But she felt that it was relative. She's like, it's nice to hear people talk about what they're going through in their business, because she's like, now I don't feel so alone. You know, and that was really cool.
That's good. That's awesome.
And she's not in the salon industry, so it's
perfect.
Really different.
All right, so let's jump into our main topic, which is the freedom, I guess, that we offer our team. So I want to jump in. I want to start with why.
That's too hot.
That's hot. You just made that tea, psycho. So I want to start off with the why we've decided to structure our salon the way we have structured it,
Absolutely.
Why we offer the freedoms and what benefits come along with that. Mm-hmm. You want to go? You want me to start?
I can.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. I know one of the whys for me was to attract the right staff.
That's a good one. I don't even think I have that in my notes.
Okay.
To be honest.
Great. It was a big deal to find, or as we were searching through, and we'll continue to search to build our team, people that could be responsible, mature, professional, enjoyed the freedom within the salon atmosphere so that they could be creative in what they did, and understood that they could come in, do their job, be creative, follow that set of rules, small, with all the stuff I'm sure we're going to list out, and then just go home and live your life. And I felt that with these freedoms, if we hired correctly, we would have people that kind of felt independent within themselves, but wanted the culture and the team atmosphere that a commission salon offers.
Sure.
Without stresses.
So I had as my first sort of bullet, I had, we wanted to create an environment that we wanted to work in.
Yeah, that's way more simple than what I just said.
I do that a lot, and I don't mean to, but it's all about creating the environment.
I want to walk into where I work, even if it's my own, and I want to be happy about it, right? With the people I work with and want to be there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it sort of was a twofold there. Way more simple that way, though.
I also think that the younger generations want freedom.
Agreed completely. Yeah.
And I think we saw that when it came to I hate bringing up the pandemic, but when it came to COVID and everyone working from home and having that freedom and flexibility, we saw a lot of younger people that were like, wait, if I can be as effective at home, why do I have to go to an office?
Yeah.
So having that freedom is something that the younger generation wants. It's not just in the hair industry. It's
throughout.
It's just the culture.
And the owners are struggling, I know from lots of different businesses, with giving that freedom. Because it's like, are you working? Are you doing what you're supposed to? And yet, if they are, like, let them. Like, what's...
Yeah, and we're going to get into later on what owners can do to help.
Absolutely.
To help themselves and to help their team. So I think the next thing to keep in mind is that all of these freedoms that we offer, it all comes with a lot of coaching from us and responsibility.
Yeah, it's not just a fucking free-for-all.
No, it's not even close to a free-for-all. So do you want to touch on what we do for coaching? We do a few different things. So
yeah, I mean, what would you call Slack? Because I feel like that's...
So Slack is our communication software, and it's where everything gets dumped. So if you're not familiar with Slack, you can set up a free account. You don't even need a paid account. The storage is a little limited if you're uploading files and pictures, but if you don't need it for that, it's a great way to put something on an app online, but have it organized, because you can break it down into channels.
Right.
So in the past, I've used like Facebook pages and things like private pages to run stuff, but it gets
lost.
Yes, it gets lost, and there's too much clutter.
Yeah.
So Slack really sort of organizes that.
Yep. And what was your question to me again? I said Slack, but now I'm like, why am I talking about Slack?
Some of the things that we offer as far as coaching specifically.
So I use Slack personally with the team, because when I educate on Thursdays in the salon, I can put everything on there. We have some events coming up. We have an event channel, general, and it's also a way to message in between each staff member.
You can private
message. For me, it allows me to coach them individually that way, and it allows them to go into Slack when they're ready to see what notifications are happening. It's better than just texting, because if I want to send them some information at 6 a.m. in the morning when my brain is fresh, if I were to text them, like, that's just invading their privacy. So now I can put it on Slack, and when they're ready, they can come into it. And it could be some of my coaching is, what's coming up, but also like, hey, what are you working on? What are you doing? This was great. And all of that goes through that channel. Yeah. We just had someone on vacation, and she was like, I was talking to her yesterday, and she's like, I'm so proud of myself. I turned all the notifications off on Slack. I
was going to touch on that next, is that we encourage our team to turn their notifications off.
Yep. And she was like...
Or set them, because you can set the hours, set them for a reasonable amount of time. So if you want to check in on your off days from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., you'll check messages, then you can turn it on for that.
And I was proud of her. And she's like, I knew you would be proud of me. And she even said, a client had texted her, and she's like, I'll be back to answer all of this stuff on the following Monday, whatever. So it allows them to turn off too. And like I said, when they want to get the information we're putting out there, they know to go on, and that's where they find it. That's one way we coach through. We also do coaching calls.
Our coaching calls, which have been the last 2-3 months, we've implemented them.
I think at least 3 months.
So 3 months or so.
And now we lay them out as like a quarter. So we open our schedule to certain Mondays and Wednesdays, and we encourage our staff to sign up for that call. They can do it every month, everyone. It's all what they need. And then we go through those coaching calls and see what their needs are. And then we can coach them through the stuff that we need them to work on, or what needs to be improved to get them to where they want to be.
Mm-hmm. And we use, I believe, if anybody's curious, I believe it's Acuity is the name of the app that is linked through our website. Mm-hmm. So all we do is go on and lay out the times that we're available, share that link with our team through Slack, and then they can go on when it's convenient for them, and they can select the day and time that they want, and we just shoot them a phone call.
Yep.
Pretty simple stuff. We do a lot of in-salon coaching, in-between stuff too. I tend to be out of the salon a lot more than you. So when I'm in there, I love to grab people and just say like, hey, if they're not busy, I'm not going to interrupt the client. But so if they're not busy, I'll grab them and say like, hey, how are things or whatever, because it's nice to touch base in person to person as well.
For sure.
So not everything is virtual, but a lot of these things that we've implemented really help get information to our team in a clean, sort of concise way.
Absolutely. And it allows them, again, it's that freedom of not having the salon meeting all the time and taking away from their personal life. The coaching calls allows them to
no
do
salon
that
meetings. I mean, maybe
wherever they are, if they need one, no, unless you really needed one. But this allows that, and then we have Slack to take care of everything else, and it gives them more freedom. We're just not taking more from them.
Right. And everyone has different needs.
Yeah. I mean, even for us, we have 3 kids, so it'd be hard for us to be in there running all that stuff too. So it allows us those same freedoms and takes a little bit off our plate.
So another one of the whys that we did this is that we really wanted to build and maintain a team. Mm-hmm. It's something that both of us really enjoyed doing. I used to do it when I worked in restaurants. I always loved sort of assembling your team and running through whatever you're doing with them, and watching how things that you put together sort of work nicely together to create, the workflow. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very important to touch on that. Like, we really wanted to create a team atmosphere that offers the freedom that now a lot of people are looking for in like rental situations. Mm-hmm. Yep. So you can get the same, if not almost more, freedom the way we have things structured than you can.
I would say it's definitely more, because you don't have to do all of that other work. It truly helps the stylist, the barber, whatever we end up bringing in after that, whatever. Just come in and be creative. Like, that's without having all these stresses. Because when you have all these stresses, your creativity level goes down. My son, Marley, can tell you all about that.
We'll have him on as a guest. Yeah, Marley, yeah. He would be great.
One night I was putting him to bed and he was just like, Mom.
Story time.
Yeah, story time. He's like, Mom, if this year, he's in 3rd grade, by the way, if this year continues the way it's going, my creativity level is going to go way down by the end of the year. Yeah, he's 8.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really deep.
So.
Side note, sorry.
That's all right.
But yes, I think it does truly create for the person that wants those. They want to not be micromanaged. They want to come in and just do hair and do it well. We've created this atmosphere where they can come in and do that around also creative people that then you each get lifted up and you thrive in that environment for those that love that, which I do. And that helps me thrive as a stylist also.
Mm-hmm. So let's jump into what, I guess we'll break down what some of these freedoms, we keep saying freedom. Mm-hmm. Let's jump into what those are and what they look like.
Yeah.
And
I have 2 favorites.
Go from that. Go ahead.
Okay. So one of my favorites that we offer is the flexibility with your scheduling and your time off. So often.
Break those down separately.
Okay. So scheduling, meaning what do you want to work? I've had someone come in recently and she was just like, I'll work nights to get started because I know I have to, but if I don't want to be here at night.
And you were probably like, whoa.
So yeah, back it up. Don't work nights. Why would you work them to get rid of them? So she currently works no nights. She does a 9 to 2 shift, 4 days a week, every other Saturday. She is happy within that world and she will build now for her ultimate goal schedule. And I love that for her, but old school salons would be like, yeah, you need at least 2 nights. You need that, like you have to do this to build or you're not going to. Now on that same conversation, I did say to her, you may build slower because you're not as available. Are you okay with that? And I like to challenge that. And she was like, I'm totally okay with that. If she wasn't, the conversation might be different, but it still ultimately would be her choice as to how she lays that out. So I do love that. Mm-hmm. The other thing I love is our time off aspect. We offer paid vacation, but after that, we offer whatever time off you need. Please let us know, and you will always get it. So if everybody wanted the same Saturday off in the salon, we would close. And what I love about that, and recently one of the staff members had said...
So many triggered owners out there right now. Like, if my business closes for a day, how will I make money?
Now, P.S., my last salon, I didn't do anything like this. I did all the wrong things. So I'm proud to learn from that and create what we have today, because that's a great moment for me. But so recently someone had said...
So at your last salon, you had scheduling conflicts where somebody would get like denied?
Yes, I think I created this, and it's so stupid when I go to say this, but I'm going to say it. Blackout dates, like as if I was fucking a credit card, like that you use your miles and points for and you can't use them. I had blackout dates, which was
ridiculous.
Thanksgiving through the end of the year. There was no time off. Fucking quit. I sucked.
I would have quit.
Oh my God, I should have quit. Everyone should have quit. Anyway, luckily people were they didn't, but they're just, don't do that. Because honestly, your life, your family, that stuff is first. Like, and you need to get people to see that. Anyway, we don't do that. So whatever people want off, that's what they have off. And we close around holidays, and so you can spend time with your family because you should be.
Agreed, 100%. And I also want to point out that if that were to happen to us, it's still going to be hot.
I know, I'm trying it.
If that would happen to us as owners, we're not going to rush in there to try to like fill in that schedule. It's just as important for us.
Right.
These freedoms.
Dual, for sure. Mm-hmm. So recently...
Because I can picture somebody out there being like, okay, if my staff all takes the same day off, then I have to be there open to close.
No, it's just done. Move on to the next day.
Yeah.
One of our staff was saying how she used to be so stressed to ask for time off at her last job. She'd be so scared to ask. She just wouldn't. And I'm like, and she was saying,
out of curiosity, was it a salon or was it like something else?
No, a salon.
Okay.
Yeah, because she would just get an attitude, or it would be a no, or just whatever it was. So she's like, I just wouldn't ask for time off, and that's not a place to be. So then
we're like, why is everyone so burnt out?
Yeah, you're burnt out because there's blackout dates and you can't take time off, or that was another thing we used to do at my other salon. Like, you could only have 2 people out at a time or something. It was ridiculous. I didn't know any better. So I'm sorry for that. There you are.
For anyone, any past employees that are listening.
Really sorry. I don't do that currently, and I learned from my mistakes.
So I love the schedule too, and I like it for more than just like planned days off. But sometimes you like, if you're not feeling well, or you wake up and you're like, I can't do this today. Like, who knows? Maybe you have I've struggled in the past with anxiety, so I know how it is to get somewhere and dread walking into the building. So to have that like flexibility to be able to say to us, hey,
no one's going to be mad
I
at you.
need a day off.
I commend it. I'm like, okay, great. What can we do to help? What do you need from us? Yeah.
So that brings us into the next point that I wanted to make, which is you have control over communication with your clients. So if you need a day off, reach out to your client. If you're on our team, probably check with the owner. If you're somewhere else, don't just do this. But
yeah.
And then call us. We're hiring. So if you need a day off, text your clients, email your clients, whatever you got to do, move them. Simple as that. You have access to your schedule. You have access to your book.
We just ask for a heads up. So
we ask for a heads up so we can assist or block out.
And we know why.
Block out booking and those things. And so we know where people are because we care, not we want to control.
Right.
Now, that comes with, if you're sick and you are like in bed, I don't want you. We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
So ask for help.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like you have this control over your clients, so you have to do this. Like, if you're just taking a day off because you need a day off, call your clients and move them.
Yeah, because you also probably know where you want to put them too.
Right. So. It's just so much easier for you to do it, I believe. But I think salon owners out there, like, they want to control that aspect too, which they shouldn't. But that's probably a different podcast.
Control. Yeah.
So another freedom that we offer is services.
This is one of my favorites.
Do you want to talk about it then?
Sure. It's another one I'm really proud of. So I truly believe in this industry that if you don't love doing a certain service, you should not do it. I understand you learn it all in school and you may have ones that you think you might like, and as you get more in your career, you're like, I don't love doing that. Don't do it, because in this field especially, or at least for me, if you don't love doing it, you're not going to be good at it. And why try to do something that just makes you miserable or gives you anxiety or brings in a fear? Now, if you're like, so for me, like in the beginning of my career, updos were really hard for me and I hated them, but I wanted to learn them. So that's different. Like I thrived. I was like, I'm going to get good at this. Yeah.
Situation.
So I worked on it. Like, if you want to push past a fear or a boundary, because like, I want to get good at this, go for that. But if you don't want to do, a lot of times I hear kids cuts, I hear men's cuts. If you don't want to do those things, or you don't want to do
What's
updos,
a men's cut?
Stop it.
You mean short hair?
Sure.
Different podcast?
Different podcasts.
Okay.
We're not going there. Not going down the rabbit hole. You're not getting me. Or you don't want to do perms. Like if you, whatever it is that you're just like, I don't ever want to do this ever in my life. Don't do it. And at Hello, you don't like it. When you come in, like, what do you like doing? What do you want to do? And if it's not this, or this, cool. Don't do them. Don't ever do them. Just do what you love and makes you happy.
So here's another example of how that freedom looks. So I personally don't enjoy cutting little kids' hair. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because they're so little. I just struggle with it.
It's really hard.
So
on so many levels.
Even if they sit still, I struggle with it. And sometimes it's a parent issue who, like, if the parent wasn't there, this would be way better. I love kids though. And I have a few kids that I'll cut their hair. It's not that big of a deal. But I overall don't enjoy doing it. So if somebody calls, that generally somebody will ask me, like, can you do this or whatever? And again, I don't have a huge issue with it. It's just not my preference. So if someone else can take it, I would rather someone else takes it that enjoys doing that.
Quick story on this though, because some parents probably don't realize this, but there was this little girl I used to cut, and when she would come in with her mother, it was horrendous. Like, god awful experience for all of us. And then one time her dad brought her in for a haircut, and she was the sweetest little angel. And I looked at him. I still remember all their names too. His name was Gene. And I was like, Gene, you need from now on to bring Alyssa in, because when your wife brings her in, it is not at all this wonderful of an experience. And kids are different with different parents. And I don't know why with him she was better, but sometimes that happens. So that's just my side note.
So parents, here's a pro tip for you if you're listening. When we show you our really cool waiting room and we're like, totally, you can hang in here. And you're like, no, I'll come out and watch. Hang in there. We're asking you for a reason.
And we got your kid. Like, let them just do their thing with us.
Yeah.
It's fun.
We're going to treat them great.
Yeah.
So, what's next? As far as, so we talked about days off and vacations. I have that for some reason schedule, and then days off, vacations. So vacations, unlimited. There's no like, oh, you already took a week off. Now, again, all of these things come with a level of coaching. So if you tell me you want to hit certain marks for your year, and then you're taking off a week every month, it's going to be very difficult for me to help you get to where you want to be. Yeah. Exactly. So maybe your goals are a little too high for reality,
and those are just those real conversations you have to have. Like, if you want to be here, then you might not want to be doing this. Like, and we coach each person differently for that. I also think coming off of services, that's the other reason why we don't do certain goal-oriented, like retail to service goals. That sounded very redundant. So most stylists or most people in the industry are not in there to
KPIs.
To sell retail. They're just not there for that. And I have found after owning a salon for many of years that, like, whenever we would have those conversations, people would be like, oh, I knew you were going to talk about my retail, and just like, oh, I hate doing it. Or some people would be like, I don't even like the products we sell here. So we've removed that.
The word cringe comes to mind.
Yeah, and you just like, they didn't get in to do hair to sell retail. We're not a retail store. So maybe your salon. This
is another podcast, by the way, because that comes down from, and I truly believe this 100%, that comes down from the big brands coming in and suggesting how you run a salon, which is based around fucking retail.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I used to,
You can finish your story before I.
So, and my old salon used to coach on that too. If you sell so many products to each guest, your retention will help and all that. And maybe that those math facts are still a thing. I don't know. But anyway, for us, that's why we're truly moving to these affiliate links, because if you want to sit down, and we don't double book. So when your client's processing, like, that's your time to sit, rebook them, talk about retail if you choose to. And then you show them the links of how they can get all that stuff. And call it a day. And then it's on them to go in and they can browse. And who doesn't love that? We all shop online now. And again, if that conversation is not for you or you don't want to talk about that, then don't. Again, just be creative. Be
more flexibility and more freedom. So we have recently brought in, and this is a whole nother podcast, but I'll touch on it, a bunch of clean beauty product lines that we are in love with, and they're great.
So exciting.
But here's the deal. Our staff has the freedom to recommend which ones they want to recommend.
Yeah. Or none of them, and just say, hey, get this.
Mm-hmm. And
luckily, they're all obsessed
I think
right
with
now.
that, it sort of inspires them to try more things and to recommend more things because they're not sort of stuck on, here's the promotion we're running. We got to push this. We have 20 of these on our shelves. We got to push this. So we'll touch on retail again in a different podcast. Pricing is another big one. And this is probably going to trigger people, and it's probably going to cause definitely reactivity because it feels like you're giving people a huge amount of control over your business. But what you're in reality doing, I believe, by offering, so what I'm talking about is we run on an hourly pricing structure, which we've talked about. I don't know if the podcast is out yet or not, but we'll talk about it again, I'm sure.
Still service-based. It's just rather than look at a la carte adding it, how long does it take you?
It's everything is based on time. So your hourly rate is up to you, not us. We have a starting hourly rate that we strongly recommend that people come in because it's a sweet spot to sort of build. But
and then we have an equation that works with their hourly rate of where they want to be.
So
that you coach them on more than
right. So all we do is we look at how much they want to make per month and their hours and divide. And the number we come up with might not be what they charge today or tomorrow. That might be their goal, and we coach them to that. So we'll say, like, you know, your goal puts you at, say, $150 an hour. I don't know. Let's start you at, I'm just going to throw numbers out. Let's start you at $90 an hour and then we can make 2 jumps or a jump to get you to that end goal. Ultimately, it's their decision.
We just give them the pros and cons of if they start here or they go there so that they don't make a mistake and then get salty about it. We want to lay it out so it's very clear and they feel very comfortable when they leave. They can sleep at night being like happy about what they're doing because understand.
It's their choice.
Yeah. They understand where they're starting. They understand where they're going. They know like the whole plan of that.
So what else with the pricing? Anything else with that? No, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
The last thing I have for what we offer, and there are a ton of other things that we offer, but this is sort of a highlight reel. It's a 30 to 40 minute blog here. It's podcast, whatever we're doing, is the freedom to come and go. So if you don't have clients, you don't have to sit there. Now, I know that's counterintuitive in this industry. If you're in a high volume, high walk-in barbershop, I would say if you're building, you should fucking hang out there.
Yeah.
Don't leave. But here's how we coach our team, because we're in a high traffic area, but there aren't a lot of people like just walking by. We're not on Main Street America.
Correct.
So I would rather our team, if this sucks when this happens, but your day falls apart. Sometimes you had 1 5-hour appointment and they cancel last minute. So instead of look at that as a negative, this is a whole nother podcast too.
Mindset.
What we want them to do is have that flexibility. Don't sit here, go out, grab a cup of coffee, talk to some people at the local coffee shop.
Yeah. Work on your social media, like work on how to get the next client in.
Exactly. And we can always, when someone calls and people call last minute, we can text you if you're in the area. Hey, can you get back here?
For sure.
Sure, I can get back there. I'll be back in 20 minutes. Perfect. I'll book this person for you. So I think that's a really cool sort of freedom, because I know at your last salon, people would be sent on errands and all sorts of things from your business partner, not from you, but we'll keep it above the belt. So I'm not going to.
We'll just leave it right there.
We'll just move on. Okay, cool.
Did you need an oil change?
Well,
sorry.
Jesus. Okay. All right. So let's come around to talking specifically to owners. Actually, it would apply to stylists and barbers too, because you can have this conversation with the owner.
Yeah.
It might go better than you thought. Who knows?
If they have an open mind, yes.
And if they don't, send them to us. We'll talk to them. So let's talk about implementation and some of the things that people need to understand before just sort of saying like, here's all these freedoms. It was great. Yeah. I listened to this podcast and
don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
It'll be like, ooh.
So your leadership, and you have to be really honest with yourself on this. Your leadership needs to be on point.
Yeah.
Or at least you need to be working aggressively on it.
Yes. And it's like, are you leading your team or are you like, oh my God, this would be amazing. My team would love this because they're leading you, right? We're not saying put them in the driver's seat. You are in it because it's going to make your culture, it's going to attract the people you want to work with. Like Todd said in the beginning, like you're creating the salon you want to be at, right? Or your business that you want to be at. So if you're going to do it because you're like, oh, everyone will be happy, they'll love me better. Like that's not why to do that. It's because you as the leader are choosing these things because it's going to make it better for you and it's what you believe in. It's the move you want to make for yourself and for your business to make it better.
I agree with all of that. So how would somebody work on their leadership? How would somebody put themselves in a position to be successful with this?
Well, like you said, they take a hard look at themselves. Are you there? What are you doing? Like, what are your day-to-day actions? Like, are they truly inspirable? Are people looking up to you? You know, or are you blaming everybody else and not yourself if things are going sour? Because it starts with you. You know what I mean? Obviously, you have to have a good team. Don't get me wrong. But if you haven't hired the right people, you might need to start reorganizing that part first before you can do anything else. Don't make a change to make them happy. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're changing your whole entire structure. And you might need to change some of your team members for that.
You probably will.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You're going to have a lot of problems to work through.
Yes.
But you have to look at the big picture of you're creating this scenario that people are inspired to. They come to and they're creative. They love what they do. They don't, I have people that are like, I don't consider this work. I show up and I have fun. I do hair and I have fun. And I'm like, wow, that's cool.
I think it comes down to our business coach. She always asks me, you know, like, what's your most desired feeling?
That was the answer to the question I was going to ask you.
Most desired feeling and business coach. Yeah. Because what do you want to feel at the end of the day, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, and then lay out from there? You know, for me, I don't want to babysit and micromanage our staff. I have 3 children. That's enough for me. I want people that are forward thinking, enjoy managing themselves, and then only need help when it's like to get them next level, to grow them as a person, to grow their business.
Sure. I agree with that. I don't think anybody enjoys being micromanaged.
No.
It's an awful scenario. It's an awful whole thing.
I think there's some people that may not enjoy it, but they have a hard time making decisions for themselves or seeing anything. And then they're just like, they need so much help that they actually need other stuff.
Which is what I was going to get into. So the
business coach.
How would somebody start to implement these things?
You need
somebody to help you. Yeah. You need a coach or a mentor or somebody.
Absolutely.
Because
even more than just your business partner, like you need someone outside to help look in and keep you on a path and keep you in a reality check.
And we both have a business coach. We work separately with and together with.
The same coach, but yes.
Yes, the same coach.
We're coached very differently.
Right, because people need different things.
Very different.
I'm at a different...
Way different.
...point in my journey than you're at.
Yes.
So definitely I would have someone that you can go to, someone you can be real with and honest with, because you're going to have reactivity. So when you start to change some of these things, and I think you should, your team might not like it, and you might want to fight them. Or you might not want to make changes because somebody is like, well, I'll leave if you do that. See you later. Yeah. Because this is for you, right? And you will find those people, but definitely coach. And I can't say that enough.
Agreed.
One of the other things I have on my list is you have to be present. Mm-hmm. This is not the time to say, oh, it's freedom, William Wallace, and then just let people do whatever.
Right.
They still need to be led.
Yeah, they still need to know the path they're on. What are the rules that you want me to play in? And then our rules are so simple that it's very easy to be like, oh, okay, I can do that. And if you can't, then you're just not a fit for us anyway.
So we talked about communication earlier, but communication with your team is definitely something that you have to be in constant communication.
That's a non-negotiable.
Yeah, you need to be there. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying don't have boundaries and don't have limits. I'm not saying take text messages at 11 p.m. and reply to them. Have normal business hours, like a normal human being. Don't go crazy, but you need to be present. This is, so you can work towards autonomy, but you're probably going to need a leadership or a management layer in your structure of your business. So right now we don't have that. It's us.
Right.
But we're very present.
Yes.
You're more, as I touched on, in salon. I'm more out of salon. But we're available. Even on days that we're both completely off, we will check in or touch base just to see like, hey, what's everyone working on? What do you have going on? Do you need anything? You know, that sort of thing. Any other points that you had? No?
No. I think it goes back to where we just were. I think I had just said this, but hiring the right staff that believes in what you're doing and sees your view and is on board. You shouldn't have to pull them on board. I've tried that in the past. It doesn't work. They're either on or they're off. And it's okay which one you are. Right. There's lots of people out there that will come work with you.
So, and this can be a different podcast too. I think we talked about actually core values in one of our
in the beginning
episodes. So you have to lay that stuff out because you have to have, and I learned this from our business coach, but you have to have this offer of what you offer laid out so that it's black and white.
And if you don't know what that is,
clear.
then you have nowhere to start yet. So that's where you need a coach because there's a lot of things that we needed to like
organize. Organize. And we have very few rules, but the ones we have, as you said, are non-negotiable. Yeah. Like if you can't clean, for example, up after yourself, you can't be on our team. Yeah. That's just, if you can't communicate professionally with clients, you can't be on our team. Yeah. We just don't have time for that. And I don't want to train that into somebody. No. I can't train giving a shit.
I say that all the time.
We can train technical.
There's so much I can give you, but if you don't give a fuck, see ya.
Right. All right. So I think we definitely threw out a bunch of actionable steps that will at least start the conversation for people.
Hope so.
I would encourage you to get on our mailing list. Thank you for everyone that's listening and watching. We've got I wanted to touch on this. We've got some great interviews lined up.
Yes.
Coming. So little teaser, get on our mailing list and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.